Hello everybody and welcome to the Arkle preview for CheltenhamFestival.net with me, Daryl Carter. Really looking forward to doing this. We're going to preview a fair few of the races over the next couple of weeks, so keep your eye out on CheltenhamFestival.net for these videos. Hopefully we can make things a little bit more clearer on some of the races, give you my opinion on a couple of the runners on each race, and hopefully we can narrow down the field. If you have any questions after this video, don't be afraid to comment below. I will try and get back to each and every one of you with my opinion on the runners. But we kick off with the Arkle in this series. It's run over 2 miles. It's run on the first day of the Cheltenham Festival. It's the second race at 2:10. It's for novice chasers. It's a grade 1. It's worth nearly £100,000. And it's a cracking looking race already. I want to kick off with a few stats, let you know about a few of the stats for this particular race. Now, Britain and Ireland in the last 10 years have come out 5 apiece. There's no real dominating by any of them in the past 10 years. But more recently, Willie Mullins has dominated this race. He's won it 4 out of the last 5 times and 2 of the last 3 run-ins. Only Altior stopped his run in 2017. 6 and 7-year-olds have dominated this race over the past 10 years. 6 of the last 10 winners have been favourites, and all 6 of those were heavily odds on. 8 to 11, 8 to 15, 4 to 6, 1 to 4, 1 to 4, 5 to 6. Now, you've got to remember that Altior, Footpad, Duvan, Underso, Sprinter Sacra, those types of horses have been in there in the past. All 10 of the last 10 winners of the Arkle have won on their previous start before this race. 6 of the last 10 were unbeaten coming into this race that season. So, a few little stats and bits and pieces there. Really cracking race. Notebook heads the market. He's a 3-to-1 shot in places, or a general 3-to-1 shot in places. We'll get onto my opinion of him in a minute, but we'll kick off with Fakir D'Oudairies, the second favourite, at around 5-to-1. This horse is a 5-year-old. 5-year-olds have got a terrible record in the Arkle because of the weight allowance. So they receive a weight allowance throughout the whole of the season, the weight for age allowance, because they're a younger horse going chasing, coming straight from the juvenile scene. And they lose it at Cheltenham. So, Fakir D'Oudairies, where do we stand with Joseph O'Brien's runner? This horse finished behind Notebook when last seen in the Racing Post novice chase at Leopardstown, the grade 1 on Boxing Day. He was beaten 1.5 lengths by Notebook, and there didn't look to be too many excuses, to being honest with you. Now, Mark Walsh did catch his eye on at one point as they swung for home on another rider's equipment, but it didn't cost him any ground. He just couldn't get near Notebook inside the final furlong. It was an impressive performance by both horses. Fakir D'Oudairies needs to go from the front, it's been suggested. That would be a concern for me, because in that particular race, he couldn't get to the front. Django went off at a fairly hell of a gallop, and Fakir D'Oudairies and Mark Walsh just had to sit back and conserve energy because they simply couldn't get to the front. He's a beautiful, lovely horse, an excellent jumper of a fence. Fences have certainly improved him. He is a grade 1 winner. He's only had 3 starts. He's already taken care of Willie Mullins' Melon, who they fancy for this earlier in the season. He is a rightful second favourite. But the record of 5-year-olds in this race, and the fact that they suggest he needs to go from the front, he probably is not going to get that at Cheltenham, if I'm going to be honest, because other connections are going to simply know that he wants to have that, and it's unlikely he's going to have things all his own way. I have a feeling that he will be going to the Marsh Chase anyway. JP McManus, his owner, notoriously does not have runners in the Arkle. He likes to win the JLT. We had the same situation last term with Defi de Saul with the Arkle JLT, Marsh Novice Chase, whatever you want to call it. The dilemma, which one's he going to go for? I think Fakir is going to go for the Marsh Chase. So we move on to the second favourite, Cashback. And with Fakir moving to the Marsh Chase, if that's what happens, Cashback looks a really attractive price at 7-1. Trained by Willie Mullins, and as we said, Willie Mullins has won 4 of the last 5 runnings of this. Ran Notebook to within 3/4 of a length during the Dublin Racing Festival in the Irish Arkle. It was a fantastic performance. The splits and sectionals suggest that both horses are very useful. Cashback went off from the front. Notebook not far behind him at all throughout the whole of the race. Cashback did have things his own way. He was able to drop the fractions down, speed up, and he was very, very good. It was a very impressive performance. The one thing I would just note from that performance is that Notebook played up before the start that day. He exerted so much energy in the parade ring. They had to take him out of the pre-parade ring. He was getting really worked up, and he was still stronger at the finish, and he was tougher to pull up after the line than Cashback. But he gave it a valiant effort. This horse was unbeaten previous to that run, won by 12 lengths previously at Naas, and won by 7 lengths at Navan. Really nice horse. Yet to win a graded race, but a really nice horse nonetheless. Definitely going to be Willie Mullins' Arkle contender. And if you do like betting each way for these races, I think 7-1 each way is a cracking price. I cannot have him out of the 3 at the moment. Next in line, we get a bit bigger in prices. 10-1 now. Brewin'upastorm, the best of the British for England. For Britain, sorry. Ollie Murphy trained, rated 150. 2 starts over fences. One first time out, beating Good Boy Bobby, and then one again, beating Southfield Stone by 4 lengths. Both times, that form has been boosted. He beat Good Boy Bobby by a head. Good Boy Bobby made a couple of mistakes at the last fence, and that was probably his downfall there. I have these two very, very closely matched. The form of that race is working out. Midnight Shadow was back in 3rd and is since a Grade 2 winner. Global Citizen back in 4th and is since a Grade 2 winner. Now, the issue I would have with that form is that all horses were having their first start of the season. Midnight Shadow was beaten 16 1/4 lengths. That is clearly not his true running. Global Citizen beaten 20 lengths after hitting every single fence on the way round. So I wouldn't take that form too literally, despite the time being extremely quick. It was fast by 1.6 seconds overalls. So, very nice performance, but he needs to do it again. He's going to be going straight to the Cheltenham Festival. He's not going to be having another run. We've last seen him at Taunton on the 14th of November, beating Southfield Stone very comfortably indeed. He's a lovely horse. 4th in the Ballymore Novice Hurdle last year. The best of the British that we've got to offer. Now, he could certainly have more to come, Brewin'upastorm, but everybody else is doing it while he's been sat in his stable, so he's going to have to produce a career best performance on the day. Not saying he can't, but he's got to. Going down, number 14, Global Citizen, trained by Ben Pauling, is now a 16-1 shot. As you can see, already we're moving further away from the top of that market. 16-1 shot, Global Citizen, a winner of the Wayward Lad Novice Chase at Kempton on most recent start. Grade 2 victory, beating Rouge 5th by 1.5 lengths. Grand Sonsi was back 2 1/4 lengths, so within 3 lengths of the lead, and I'll tell you why that's important in the moment. But Global Citizen is a flat track bully, in my opinion. This horse is a cracking horse, very speedy horse, great jumper, but needs his own way out in front and needs a flat track to be at his best. Cheltenham, I am not convinced is going to be the track for him. He was beaten 75 lengths when last seen here in the Champion Hurdle. Now, that was a bit of a messy Champion Hurdle, but still, he didn't look like he handled the track at all there. I would suggest Aintree would be the place for Global Citizen. Next in line is Sam Crow at 16-1. Been bitterly disappointing. Although he was beaten last time out by Faheen, he was beaten 10 lengths by him, and he's just not finishing out his races. He's also been behind Fakir D'Oudairies when falling. Now, they were head and head. Both look to be travelling well, but as we see in the Limerick racing against Faheen, he may look like he's travelling well, but he's just not finishing out those races. This is he's gonna have to drop back and trip here. I can't really see them doing that. I think he's going to be a middle distance horse in the future. Then we move down to Bapome, 20-1, if you like Bapome for Willie Mullins. I think we sort of see his chance completely disappear when beaten 79 lengths in the Irish Arkle last time out by Notebook. This horse has been tripless. He was 4th in the Stayers hurdle last year. A little bit insulting to other runners for Willie Mullins to think that he can drop a Stayers 4th back down to 2 miles and win an Arkle. But it was a nice try while it lasted. I'm sure his believers now are non-believers, but we'll see. Easy game. Really nice horse. Another from the Mullins stable at around 20-1. It's been running over the middle distance trips. Got to within half a length of Faheen in the Flogas Novice Chase at Leopardstown. Great, valiant performance, but he will not be dropping back in trip, I should not think. Especially now Willie has cash back in there. We're out to a Spirit D'Oudairies. He's 20-1. Again, another middle distance horse who I think is better over that sort of trip. He did drop back down to 2 miles to win the Henry VIII Novice Chase, the Grade 1. He's a Grade 1 winner. He's 20-1 in this race. That is madness. Now, mentioned earlier that Grand Sonsig got within 3 lengths of Global Citizen. He couldn't get within 15 lengths of a Spirit D'Oudairies at Sandown. Really taking performance by that horse. I think he's got tons more to come. I would be concerned if he was to come here. I hope he goes for the Marsh Novices Chase, but he's a really nice horse nonetheless for Evan Williams, who's had a fantastic season this year. He's only had a couple of starts over the 2 miles though, and he does look to be better at 2.5. Previously he was beaten at Carlisle back in October by King of May. He's obviously improved a ton since then, but I think 2.5 is definitely going to be his game. Itchy Feet, we know stablemate Brewin'upastorm is in here. He's going elsewhere. Marie Banrai is definitely not going to be good enough. She has won last 5 starts. She's only improved £11 in the official ratings though for winning by 11 lengths, 13 lengths, a length. And I'm just not convinced she has been beaten all that much. Now, she did beat Thomas Darby at Warwick, but Thomas Darby hit every single fence that day on reappearance on his first chase start. Hit every single fence and then ran on and got to within a length. So I would suggest that form is not quite good enough. For me, we're out to Mellon, who was beaten 20 lengths by Notebook, and bigger the rest. A lot of the other horses don't look like they're going to be going in here. There is one at a big price, a 25-1 shot, other than a Spirit D'Oudairies, that could cause a little bit of an upset if coming here. And that horse is Greenatine for Paul Nicholls. Now, he's got to take a massive step forward on what he's done so far, but he really does look like a nice progressive horse. And Paul Nicholls does like to bring his horses along slowly. This might come too quick for him, but he's certainly one to watch going forward. But then we are back to the head of the market. So there is not a lot to be taken on the sensational Notebook, who we are yet to speak about, with. Now, this horse is the only dual Grade 1 winner over fences in the field. He has beaten the best of the Irish. In my opinion, the British have not got a lot to offer this term. This horse has been outstanding. He fits all of the stats that you need for the race. He's beaten Fakir D'Oudairies, the 2nd favourite. He's beaten Cashback, the 3rd favourite. He's beaten Moon over Germany, rated 150 by 5 lengths. He is a lovely horse. Now, the one concern that a lot of people have with Notebook is his hurdle form. Now, let me suggest to you this. He was rated 138 over hurdles, but he wasn't given the opportunity to reach a higher rating. He had 6 runs over hurdles. 3 of those were over 2 miles. His trainer came out this term and has said that he was running him over the wrong trip over hurdles, over 2.5 miles, etc. The 3 runs he did have over hurdles, he finished 2-1-2. The win, he beat Janadil of Willie Mullins, who has been unbeaten since, now rated 145. Previous to that, or after that, his final start over hurdles, he was second to the Triumph Hurdle, 3rd Gardens of Babylon, who went on to finish just behind Pentland Hills at the Cheltenham Festival next time out. In that race, he had Cashback 10 lengths behind. So there is lots of bits and pieces to suggest that Notebook is an improving horse. The hurdle thing should not hold you back at all. 3-1 is more than fair about a dual grade 1 winner. This horse has got everything you like, including course form when 12th in last year's Ballymore Novice Hurdle. So lots to like about Notebook. Not a lot of negatives at all. And he is definitely the one to beat in this field. Brewin'upastorm, best of the British so far. Unless the Spirit du Large comes in here. Cashback, each way price at 7-1. Really good race. Any questions, drop a couple of comments down below. I'll do my best to get back to you. Hopefully things are a little bit more clearer now than they were before this video. Otherwise, I've not done my job. Check out cheltenhamfestival.net. And we've got loads of content coming. Thank you very much for giving me your time.